Hey, I am Hannah, Qualitative Researcher or Customer Insights Researcher, and this is survey teardown number 8. You're looking at my screen right now. The Uber Eats app is up on desktop at least, and the goal here is so survey 8 of the 50 surveys project, tearing down 50 marketing surveys in 50 days, really just to ask better, sharper, smarter questions so we can get better insight. I mean, tons of businesses are doing surveys these days, which is great. But are they really getting the insight that they need? Are you really getting the insight that you need from the people who need to be speaking? Usually if a customer is extremely happy or extremely unhappy, they will volunteer their information. But what about the folks in between? What about the majority? If you have a huge user base, that's great. And if you don't have the luxury of that, you do need sharper questions. That said, better questions will get you better insight regardless. Sample size will help, and it gives you that room to be kind of a bit more boring with your survey and not follow best practices as much. But better surveys will pay their own reward with better, sharper data. So let's get started. I thought it would be fun to kind of take you on the journey and talk through this particular survey. We'll see how this goes. If you like this format better, let me know in the comments below. I want to do this because I'm really into the one bite, by the way surveys is what I'm calling them. The surveys that you just tack on to an event. They're not like a whole separate ordeal in and of themselves. They just follow an event and they ask for your feedback on it, which naturally makes you feel like they're responsive, right? The survey is reacting to something. They want to know, hey, you just had this experience. How was it? The surveys feel less intrusive, more organic, they're a lot more welcome that way as well. I started recording this a second ago, and then I was like, let's start on the survey, and I just clicked reorder. So a lesson in call to actions and paying attention to what you're reading. Normally, if I haven't completed this right after I place the order, I will get a note that says, how would you rate your order? And that shows up in the mobile app as a pop-up, which is great. Really kind of interrupting before I leave, getting my quick feedback while it's top of mind. I've just received the order. It kind of stays open in the meantime. I'm sure you've seen in the app yourself, but you can always go back in and answer the same question. So we're going to do that right now. And P.S. if you haven't had Colombian empanadas, get to it. They are so good. All right. So rate your order first off. Okay, that's fine. I might make this pop a little bit more just because I defaulted to R, and I thought, let me reorder. Of course, they kind of want you to reorder, so they're putting it as pronouncing it. But I might, there's not real indication here, and I think that's a good thing, that if I click on this, it's going to lead to more questions. So that's one thing that's really good, and that's actually what I want to focus on here. Notice how Uber Eats kind of does this, that they ask one thing at a time, right? And you'll see that here. So they've got one thing here. I don't really feel inclined to necessarily click this. Maybe some colors might do that. I don't, but their pop-up, it kind of works well. Maybe if there's some sort of messaging here that rate your order. So they message this after, rate your order so we can improve your recommendations. We can improve recommendations that are specific to you. Some sort of incentive. If I have delayed, and it's been a while that I haven't completed, or I haven't completed many ratings. So just some sort of mention of why is this actually going to help and serve me? So let's click here. I'm going to give these guys a 5-star because they're awesome. And then I get this pop-up. So it's really nice that there's one thing happening at one particular time. So one, a very sequential, right? They're walking me through it. I'm not committing to something fully up front. There's a time and a place for that. If you have a longer survey, you want to let people know that the survey is going to be long so they don't bail midway. But the chances of this being long are minimal. I mean, the content, the context. So how was the cafe? Then they'll get your feedback along with your name and photo. This was something that I wanted to give some feedback to another restaurant a while back, and as soon as I read this, I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to make my feedback positive, because the place is pretty close to me and I don't want them to like not like me when I go in, if they recognize me. I mean, is that going to happen? I don't know. But as soon as I heard this, I thought, oh, it's not anonymous. Why do they need this information? And then it sort of biased my answer. So this is something I'll be really mindful of. Is it adding value? Is it deterring people from being honest, especially if it's like a local place that they are visiting and frequenting? So just really be thoughtful with what your information you're providing. This is good transparency, but is it actually serving you? All right, continue. I would actually see if there's some way to like have the question in here. Like, do I have to click here again, I guess no. So this is, oh, okay. So I did need to click there. That wasn't clear. I would have some language in here that lets me know, like, I do need to click. So did that mean that this didn't really register from the first time? So I could have clicked anything and then this is the actual rating? That's not clear. I would actually have it in just like one place and then maybe jump into the questions themselves, or just have some tiny language, like submit your actual rating. Okay, so let's see. So this opens up, great. Let the restaurant know your thoughts. Okay, so I loved all of the things. Now what I really like about this is like I click positive, thumbs up for these guys, and then it shows other options. So it's giving me specifics, right? So they ask a general question, then they dive into specifics, which is bang on. You want to ask a more general question as a rationale for diving into specifics. So if I clicked here, they would actually change. This is similar to like asking one question and then using survey logic to ask a follow-up based on whether they answer yes or no, or good or bad. And then options here. So this is like super tasty, nice presentation, perfect temperature. The only thing here is like this is kind of tedious. Like maybe having like a select all option. I kind of get a little lazy. Like, yeah, this was super tasty. Perfect temperature feels more like something that I would complain about if it's cold. I don't know that I would complain if it's like too hot. Would you? That's not something that I think like, oh, this is the best temperature. Portions, again, that sounds like a negative, more often a negative complaint than not. All of this stuff was amazing, like tasty. Fresh is a tricky one. Like, does it feel stale? I might have like slightly different perfect temperature, tasty, and then like the presentation is like, it's difficult with delivery. Like maybe the presentation is going to be bad. But I mean, like perfect temperature kind of applies for all of these, but it just feels pretty weird. Let's look at some of what the negative ones. So not so tasty. Yeah. Okay. Messy presentation. Yep. Cold or melted. Melted is a little, like maybe I wanted the cheese to be melted, so maybe it could be like cold, soggy or leaky, small portion. Okay, so those, I think those make a lot of sense. Those are fair. These are a little funny, like fresh versus what, like stale. Maybe stale should be an option here. And another thing that's important to note is they try to do the opposites, right? So you've got temperature in both, you've got presentation in both, portion in both, soggy or leaky, not so tasty. And then the value here is like, I don't have to think so much. I don't have to come up with what I didn't like about it. I can just like select what they're saying, right? I can, and what that does is that this works as like a prompt, because I'm not thinking about, like, it's been a couple months since I took this, since I ordered from them this awesome place. But it's just not top of mind for me, right? So now they've got some options that I can actually click. All right, so let's fly through, hit submit. Okay, cool. So that's submitted, and now they're asking about Muhammad's service. So what's really important here that I've seen some surveys not do is like they just have a one pager and they ask all of the questions. I just saw this recently with like a Survey Monkey. where you can, a software like Typeform is really great for this. Separate like one page, one question, or one question on the screen at a time. Even if you tell people up front there's like 5 questions coming, one at a time helps. It just feels less overwhelming. You can actually create a bit of a dialogue that like one question leads into the next, and you react to the response. Like if someone clicks yes, you can be like great, or no, and be like, oh, we're sorry to hear that. Like you can actually make it a bit conversational. All right, so let's do this. So this is nice. Back there I had the option to skip. I click yes, and I have friendly service. Yes, great communication, quick and efficient, delivered with care, perfect handoff. This is kind of an odd, like, yeah, I guess if you have some negative experience, then maybe. Let's see what they've got. Wrong vehicle. I don't really know what that means. Didn't match photo. That's an interesting one. I didn't even know that was like an option. Unprofessional, no mask, missed instructions, poor communication, items damaged. So I was thinking the mask would be like maybe here too. Like they wore a mask. That's a good thing. That they were professional, or that they followed so there's an option to like put instructions, so that they followed the instructions. Some of these aren't really that intuitive, and it's maybe, yeah, like items damaged, that's fine, missed instructions, okay, yeah. So let's say the guy missed instructions, but he also had positive, and this is forcing you to like commit and pick one, right? If you have even one in either side, then that's the one that you're choosing. So not really friendly, quick and efficient, delivered with care, perfect handoff. This one's kind of an odd one. So what I'm trying to point out here is like, be really thoughtful about what you include, right? I mean, a lot of times you might just whiz through this. We're spending obviously a lot more time here than normal. But a lot of times people are just going to whiz through, and like perfect handoff. So does that mean like the actual passing off? I guess that's what that means. That like, oh, you know, he was able to come up to my floor and my buzzer, and I didn't have to like go find him. So okay, that makes sense. Friendly service, quick and efficient, delivered with care. So this is great. And then the need help. I'm kind of curious. Like I would always err on this side. So let's submit this and then see what happens with the need help. Oh, add a tip for Mohammed. Okay, so delivery people are critical to our communities at this time. A little extra goes a long way. So okay, so let's take a look at what's happening here, right? Like I see this and I wasn't prepared for this, and this is like on my screen, and I don't remember this guy. And what they're doing is like they kind of catch you in this moment, right? Like now I feel like, should I add a tip here because you guys are watching? Like how many, like one viewer maybe is watching, but maybe I did already tip, and normally I do, and maybe that tip doesn't go to him. And there's a lot of questions here, right? I mean, it's amplified because I'm sharing my screen in the process, but this is also a way for you to like, you've just answered a particular question that he did well, right? That's what I said here. I said that he did well. And so now they're asking, and actually now they're asking, oh, I kind of want to see. Let's say I say he didn't do well. Oh, they're still going to ask for a tip. That's interesting. I wonder if there's like a way to almost amplify. So like, you know, maybe you ask differently if you say he did well. Delivery people are critical. Okay, so the other, and I mean, this is, you can enter another amount. You actually have to click one, right? So what's interesting that they do here is they don't let you skip. And then this forces you to actually make a decision, which is a very powerful thing in a survey, right? Like you don't give someone the option to skip, to step out, and you're already at the end of the survey now. So I do need to like make a decision. So I'm going to go with none here, and then submit and continue. Glad you enjoyed. Okay, so this message, your ratings improve the recommendations you see. All right, so this kind of language would have been really great here. Like rate this order because you can improve the recommendations you see. That's really great incentive for me personally, right? And then let's take a look at the need help section. So that was an interesting one. I had an issue with my delivery partner. I see. If you had a poor experience with your delivery. So when you're So I would actually say that need help, it ended up being a bit of a distraction. It wasn't really telling me, like, I didn't know what to expect when I was clicking on it. So what I would recommend is saying something like, did you have a separate issue with your delivery partner? Do you want help? Like, did you have a poor experience with your delivery that you want to talk about? Like, something that lets me know that if this form isn't sufficient, there is a way to talk more. Like additional order issues. Okay, so you can tap the receipt, locate the order, you can rate the order. So they're just sort of reaffirming that. Let's say my order is taking longer than expected. See what happens. I see. Okay, so this is like as though my order never arrived. So they're kind of just like pointing you. You got me. I made an order yesterday. They're kind of just pointing me to other pages, and then there's an option to like describe the experience. So that's good. I would perhaps lead with this, just because you're reaffirming, like, chances of me getting to this page are, yes, through like help with an order, but also through that survey, right? And you're reiterating exactly what I'm doing. I'm in the middle of rating, and then there was an option of like need help. So yeah, I got ice cream yesterday, guys. So I would lead with this up top and put this right at the top here instead. Like, I had an issue with my delivery partner that I want to share more about, because that's a different event to like the rating. And then if someone is wanting to rate and they haven't, and they've gotten to this page from this particular approach, they can do that as well. But yeah, so that's my teardown for the Uber Eats post-purchase app survey. I hope that's helpful. I do encourage you to add in like the by the way surveys where you can, and use the one question on one screen at a time. And yeah, they're really low maintenance for you to create and low maintenance for people to participate, which all contributes to better response quality, higher response and completion rate, which is exactly what you're going for with a survey. That's it for today, and I will see you tomorrow in survey teardown number, I think this is number 7 or number 8. Maybe I said number 8, but in the next survey teardown. Bye.